From Joliet, Illinois, in the shadow of the Windy City, Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is about to chase down the win at Chicagoland Speedway. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. Mike Wright captured his sixth checkered flag of the season last week at Charlotte, while Robert Nestor and John Bawalda have been creeping deeper into the top five in our point standings. I'm Dave Regal, back and better than ever, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, glad to have you back with us. We do apologize for not being on the air last week, and I know that, for lots of us, every Monday night is always a big deal here on the Independence Racing Network. Taking a look right now at Brandon Minto laying his qualifying lap down as he's just about to complete that bad boy. We'll see what's going on here with him. As right now, sitting atop the pile is our points leader, Mike Wright, followed by Chris Claude, who has laid down a 31.24-second lap in his first lap. We're going to take a look at Claude here, as usually not that high up on the qualifying, as he is usually there later on in the race, as his strategy usually deems it a little bit safer to start deeper in the field. Looks like he is fourth right now on the standings. He comes down, crosses the start-finish line, and maintains now sixth position. So we'll see how that qualifying effort goes. Of course, trailing Jeff Carson, his teammate, in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. Sorry about that. Anyway, we see Jeff right now finishing up his second qualifying lap, as Eugenio Alonso finishing his effort here, running P2 right now. Brandon Minto in P3. Aaron Mack finishing up his. John Timms out finishing his first lap, gets himself into 8th position. And Chad Sanner, after his first lap, gets into 6th. So lots going on right now in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And I'll tell you what, folks, week in and week out, we see these drivers who have prepared themselves to get to this point of the night. And, here we are. It's almost like the point standings are the same as tonight's race standings, with Mike Wright sitting atop the pile. Of course, I don't see Bobby Blazer on track tonight, so that's definitely going to affect his points position. But Brandon Minto, Chad Sanner, Jeff Carson, Doug Argabright, all there in the hunt tonight in the top 7. So we should start to see a lot of these drivers making their way up in the standings, as your top 5 in the MNN Xfinity Series point standings are Mike Wright atop the pile, with Bobby Blazer close behind him. Then Bob Nestor running in 3rd, of course, Bob being your MNN Xfinity Series commissioner, with John Bawalda from Tuesday night and in 4th, and Dakota Cave rounding out the top 5. So right now, the way things look, Mike Wright sitting atop the pile. Bobby Blazer, here he is, running 2nd in points. And right now, after his qualifying effort, running in 5th, Bob Nestor in 7th, Ian Humphreys in 11th. Taking a look right now as Corey Burkett getting ready to come out and turn his qualifying laps. Corey Burkett now taking that green flag and dashing off on his first lap. We see him swinging way out to the wall here and dropping down. But remember, he doesn't want to, this is more of a late arc into turn 1 and 2. You don't want to take it too deep, too early, because 1, you'll chew up your tires, and 2, you can really tighten the car up and slow down fast. So slow down fast, I guess that's tonight's first oxymoron of the evening. So Corey Burkett out here laying that first lap down. We also see Matt Mackin in the 01 Chevrolet. He's already logged his 15th place position now, as he gets ready to finish his qualifying effort in the 01 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Carlos Ramos in the number 97 Toyota Supra getting out here getting his first lap in. And you know what? Carlos Ramos, one of those drivers, very aggressive through a lot of the evening as he crosses the start-finish line. Ramos getting himself in the top 10. I'm betting now that those tires are warmed up, he is going to be much faster now for lap number 2. And folks, if you are just joining us on the youtube.com live feed here on the Independence Racing Network right now, I see a few of you on there. Make sure that you subscribe to the Independence Racing Network so that you can, and turn on those bell notifications so that you can be notified every time we are live here on Monday nights. As we see Carlos coming across the start-finish line one more time, definitely sped up some as he has crawled into 7th position now atop the leaderboard. So that tower rotating there in the middle of the racetrack going to reflect the 97 in 7th position. MW21784, glad to have you with us here. And looks like he says, let's go, Zacho. So I'm assuming that would be Zach Osborne, who is currently in 14th position. Folks, make sure that you give us a shout in the live chat. Let us know who you're hollering for. Of course, there is that scoring tower that I was just talking about a few moments ago, sponsored by Harrah's and Joliet and LifeLock. Of course, LifeLock, a great company. Of course, if you ever want to check out any more of that, you can always go to lifelock.com/Sean for the Sean Hannity Show promotion there on LifeLock. And speaking of a couple of plugs here, we are going to step aside right now and pay some bills on the Independence Racing Network.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Joliet, Illinois, where the MNN Xfinity Series getting ready to turn 200 laps here. Do want to take note that they will be laying 4 sets of tires tonight with 5 sets total. And, of course, here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, we do have stage racing because we do run 100% length races here on iRacing.com. So stage 1 will end at the completion of lap number 45 when the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line on what would be lap 46. The yellow flag will fly. We will have stage caution, and we will rack them up and shoot again and go for lap number 90 for stage number 2. Then at the conclusion of stage 2, then we will go another 110 laps on stage 3 and get all the way to the end. Right now, it looks like everybody has qualified tonight, which is different from many races that we have. And it looks like Bennett Allen only laid himself 1 complete lap down on his qualifying effort, so not sure what's going on with Bennett. But, these drivers week in and week out, they are continually honing their craft. I mean, you have to remember, this is an open setup league, so not everybody's chassis is created the same. So there are some drivers who, depending on your setup, you can really have somebody who's faster than fast, because that car is twisted right to their liking. As long as it's comfortable to drive, you can absolutely drive the wheels off of these machines. So qualifying has concluded here, and we'll get ready to show you that awesome grid right here. 23 cars in the field this evening with Mike Wright sitting on the inside of row 1. On pole position, Matt White going to be on the outside pole in P2. Let's see if we can. There we go. Now we can see these awesome drivers. Row 2 going to be on the inside. Eugenio Alonso on the number 86 Chevrolet with Brandon Minto on his outside. Row 3, Chad Sanner in the number 59 Chevrolet. Bobby Blazer has the number 90 Blue Oval Ford starting in 6th position on the outside of row 3. Row 4 made up of Carlos Ramos and Aaron Mack. Row 5, Bob Nestor, your MNN Xfinity Series commissioner, with his teammate Jeff Carson in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra in 10th position. Rounding out the rest of the field here, row 6, Corey Burkett in the number 13, Matt Mackin on the outside of row 6. Row 7 is made up of Zachary Vaughn and Zach Osborne, so a pair of Zachs there in row 7. Doug Argabright and John Timms in row 8. Row 9, Ian Humphreys and Brad Gunn. Chris Claude, your SNN, Davis Brothers Roofing SNN Cup Series commissioner, starting in 19th with Jackson Derby on the outside of row number 10. Row number 11, Alexander Gangler and Matthew Helm. And starting shotgun on the field after just one qualifying lap, Bennett Allen in the number 3 Chevrolet. And these drivers, as always, getting ready to roll. And, you know, I got to tell you, folks, these drivers are out here ready to compete. I mean, nobody comes here with a weak stomach, that's for sure. And amongst the 3 series in the SNN family of racing here, of course, with Cup Series on Sundays, Xfinity Series here on Monday, and Trucks on Tuesday, this is some of the most fierce competition in the 3 series. Mike Wright leading the field down here into turn 3 on the backstretch. These drivers are checking those belts. They're checking that visor, making sure everything is just set the way that they'd like it, because we're about to have 200 fast laps here at Chicagoland Speedway. We see Mike Wright hanging back from that iRacing.com pace car just a little, as it looks like we will have another pace lap, which I do appreciate. One thing that we want to talk about here, of course, is our race info of the evening. And, you know, here's the biggest thing tonight. You know, we may be in the Windy City, but it's really not that windy tonight with just 3-mile-per-hour winds. But that track temperature being, at this point, 81 degrees with an outdoor ambient temperature of 70. This track is going to have some nice grip to it. We're not going to see a whole lot of slip sliding around. So we should see some real grip in this track tonight, and I got to tell you, that's something exciting for any race fan. And, of course, like I had mentioned earlier, thank you, Dcash Videos. The 82 should be good near the end. Of course, the 82 driven by Alexander Gangler in his Cheerios Toyota Supra kind of is a throwback to the old John Andretti days back in the early 2000s, late 90s with Richard Petty Motorsports. And we could talk about John Andretti for a long time, but right now what we need to talk about is that iRacing.com pace car light is off. No more flashy lights. As we are going to get ready to go green, check those belts one more time. Make sure the window net is nice and tight on the left-hand side. And right now, you need to grab some popcorn, get a friend, and get ready for some green flag racing here at Chicagoland Speedway. We are underway in MNN Xfinity Series action. Mike Wright and Matt White bringing the field down through the back stretch here on lap number 2 as we go into turn 3. They have been side by side since the green flag dropped. And I'll tell you what, these drivers, all kinds of excited. And we see right now Mike Wright working the inside, but allowing White to get just past him as they are now nose to tail here going into turns 1 and 2 yet again. And we see Brandon Minto getting into the mix now with Chad Sander hot on his heels. These drivers not willing to give anything up here, as I do see something going on here with Corey Burkett. We're going to take a look back. And we see Corey Burkett here just getting it all wrong as he comes up high on the backstretch, collects the 31 of Aaron Mack, and those two drivers down through the backfield grass. So right now, that cannot be a pleasant feeling for these drivers, especially this early in the race. But it looks like they have gotten themselves back on track and trying to keep pace, but that's not going to last for long as Wright and White are duking it out here atop the pile. Taking a look now at Eugenio Alonso in the number 97 as, whoa, we see Minto stepping out just a little bit. In the middle of your screen, we see quite a battle here as they are spreading out. Now the 97 of Carlos Ramos being chased down by Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And these drivers with 6 laps in just going at it hammer and tongs. We see that diamond formation almost like the Blue Angels over top of California, as Bennett Allen now up 8 positions from where he had started, as he is about to be 3 wide. We want to stay right here on Bennett Allen as they just about had some 3 wide action. Looks like the 38 going to stay where he is for the time being, but Bennett trying to make it interesting here, as now we can see the 46 of John Timms working the inside of Bennett Allen. Now it looks like just in front of Bennett Allen, Doug Argabright trying to hold him off, but Argabright having to drop down and cede that position away. Ian Humphreys and Brad Gunn here in the middle of your screen. Looks like Humphreys being chased down by Gunn in that black number 36 Chevrolet. And looks like at this point, whoa, we see just about the 01 being on the high side of a 3 wide situation. And at that point, it almost looked like the 38 wanted to be the meat in that sandwich. Things starting to unfold quickly here at Chicagoland Speedway. Folks, glad to have you in with us tonight on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Riegel here, back at the microphone after a week off, as we are glad to have you in here with us. And at this stage in the race, 8 laps in, we're working our way toward lap number 45. Looks like Brad Gunn going to be working the inside of John Timms as we get ready to cross the start-finish line here on lap number 9 of 200. Checking in with our leader, Matt White, here in the number 56 Toyota Supra, leading Mike Wright in his number 98 Ford. And I'll tell you what, these drivers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single file through the top 5, not a bad thing at all right now, as that will keep us green flag racing here early on in the MNN Xfinity Series 300, round number 17 now at Chicagoland Speedway. Ian Humphreys leading Matthew Helm in the number 25 as Helm getting ready to move in on him. And just ahead, we start to see the 38 of Doug Argabright, the 36 of Brad Gunn, and the 46 of John Timms getting ready to do-si-do their way down through the front stretch and into turns 1 and 2. Right now, everybody's still sort of feeling one another out as, you know, at this stage in a race, it's almost ill-advised to try to get too aggressive too early, especially in a situation like this. I mean, you know, these cars right now, the 46, the 32, the 36, here, the green and 2 black cars here in the middle of your screen, They're running closer than just about everybody else on the racetrack tonight. And we can even take a look right now here at the Brad Gunn, Ian Humphreys, and Matthew Helm battle and the Argabright battle here. We'll take a look at the battle box. And we can see that there is almost just 0.2 of a second separating these three drivers. They have not given each other any room whatsoever tonight. And we see just under 0.2 of a second separating these three drivers from 13th, 14th, and 15th. I mean, what a competition that we have here coming out of turn 4, down the front stretch, through the Geico restart zone, getting ready to cross the start-finish line one more time as John Timms manages to hold on to that inside line. You know, all night long, we are going to see those three drivers specifically working their way through this field. And right now, speaking of working their way through the field, Bennett Allen in the number 3 Chevrolet. I mean, I'll tell you what, he has this Camaro wound up all kinds of crazy. And I mean, maybe it's like a parlor trick. He wanted to start shotgun on the field and decided now all of a sudden to start making his move. And I'll tell you what, if it's a parlor trick, I'm buying in every time. As it looks like Bennett Allen up 13 positions. Your next biggest mover in the entire field is Matthew Helm, who started second from the rear on the field in 22nd. Up 6 spots now in 16th, as he is still trading positions right now. So obviously things starting to tighten up back there in the 16th, 17th, 18th battle. We'll keep it there, but don't look now. You know what? It's interesting that we see here Matt White and Mike Wright still going at it side by side here, which I got to tell you, to be holding this together for 16 laps, that is entertaining racing, especially when you're sitting there in the cockpit and you look out the right side. I mean, hopefully if you have triple monitors, you're looking out that right side monitor and you can see that front left quarter panel of your competitor there, and you just give it a little bit more throttle. You try to drive on past them, drive through them almost, as Eugenio Alonso trying to get in on that dance. And I'll tell you what, there's only one thing I would be scared of, and that's adding another driver. I mean, you know, you don't want to have too much going on, as now it looks like Mike Wright dropping behind Alonso. Not really sure exactly how that had transpired. We're going to take a look here. And we see Eugenio Alonso just working the inside of Wright and getting himself a run on Wright here, and Wright wisely getting out of the throttle. No need to get too excited here early on in this race. So, you know, Mike Wright just proving why he is our points leader and why he is absolutely one of the wisest drivers out on the track this evening. 19 of 200 laps through here, as we are just about halfway through stage number 1 here at Chicagoland Speedway. And, you know, folks, I got to be honest, sitting here in the broadcast booth back with you on a Monday night, this is an absolute joy to be able to sit here and see these drivers back in action. And while they are back in action, we are going to step to the side and hear from our good friends over at Preen.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
I know belts and hoses, not X's and O's. I do O2 sensors with my defenses. Yeah, I make the right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. Glad to have you in with us tonight here on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Riegel here at the microphone, operating the ones and twos and everything in between, as we are 23 laps halfway through stage one here in the MNN Xfinity Series race at Chicagoland. Of course, a total of 200 laps tonight, but stage one will end at lap number 45. Stage two, the end, would be ending at lap number 90, and then 110 laps to the end here in MNN Xfinity Series action. And taking a look now at one of our biggest movers, Matthew Helm, the number 25, along with Bennett Allen there. Bennett Allen, of course, your biggest mover, has now cracked himself into the top 10 ever so gently. But Matthew Helm here in the number 25, that orange and black Toyota Supra here along the bottom. Whoa! As it almost looked like the 32 of Ian Humphreys had gotten loose coming through the tri-oval. And right now, Matthew Helm working the inside of John Timms there in the number 46 Toyota Supra. We'll take a look here as they almost look like they could be teammates with these, of course, the Premier Racing Setup Shop.com paint scheme here. And, you know, I'll tell you what, Premier Racing Setups, great organization over there. Of course, they've got some great drivers as Matthew Helm is now up these 13 positions. We'll take a look again at John Timms, who it looks like his Premier Racing Setup Shop machine is just ahead of Matthew Helm. And, of course, Premier Racing Setups available at premierracingsetups.com. And, you know, racing setup shops, of course, as we had talked earlier, you know, this is an open setup league. So if you don't have time to sit there and tweak that setup, build that setup, especially from the ground up, I mean, there's lots of mad scientists in the iRacing.com servers. There are guys that all day long they sit there and they try to perfect those setups. And, you know, there are other guys like myself, you know, full-time job, you know, you've got other responsibilities at home, you know, children, so on and so forth. And, you know, hey, listen, sometimes you get home from work, you just need to get that setup in there. You need to get yourself out here on the track, and PremierRacingSetups.com can absolutely get you there. So glad to have them out there on the number 25 and 46 machines, as they are currently running 13th and 14th. But as far as 13th and 14th go, we're not really worried about that here atop the pile, as it appears Matt White still maintaining his lead over Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet. And Matt White, you know what? I want to just take a quick peek at Matt White's sponsor. Looks like it's JCB, should be. And it is. So, of course, the JCB Toyota Supra. And I'll tell you what, you can see here as Alonso manages to suck right up to the rear. It looks like he is going to make a run for the lead, as Alonso working the inside of the 56 and muscles his way just alongside of him as we come through turn 4. It looks like Matt White able to get the run, but now Alonso trying to save just an extra 100th of a second as they come through the tri-oval, crossing the start-finish line into turns 1 and 2. Alonso now backing off as he doesn't get the run coming out of turn 2 on Matt White that he had earlier. So obviously he will have to step back and reevaluate his position here on the racetrack. And speaking of evaluating one another on the racetrack, the 25 and the 46 still running side by side here. And don't look now, but right now the 31, the 32, and the 38 all look like they are trying to line themselves up and draft right into one another to try to get around the 25 and the 46 of John Timms and Matthew Helm. Ian Humphreys working just in front of Doug Argabright in the Great Clips Toyota. And right now it looks like Argabright trying to chase them down but losing ground fast as, of course, Tim's Aaron Mack. Then it looks like the 25 of Matthew Helm and Ian Humphreys all just sticking together. But at this point, it looks like the 31 machine of Aaron Mack working his way past John Timms. So perhaps Tim has cooked those tires off here early on in the race. We'll have to take an eye there. As right now, Chad Satter in the number 59 Chevrolet chasing down Mike Wright, Eugenio Alonso, and your race leader, Matt White. "32 laps complete as Matt White crosses the start-finish line in the number 56 JCB Toyota Supra as dives into turn one as he is leading the field like the Pied Piper of Joliet, Illinois. Of course, Joliet being a suburb of Chicago, that toddling town here in Illinois. So, lots to do here as we're taking a look at Bob Nestor is now leading Jeff Carson. Both of these drivers up 3 positions from where they had started. As it looks like Nestor running in third, starting in ninth. And Carson starting in 10th is chasing down Nestor. Zach Osborne chasing down Jeff Carson. Zach, of course, driving his traditional number 16 Toyota Supra. And folks, if you are there, of course, Zach Osborne's already got a little cheer section here in the youtube.com live chat. Make sure that you are active there in the live chat. Helps people see us on YouTube, gets your friends and family noticed. And, of course, the Independence Racing Network gets a little bit of a plug out of that, too, from the youtube.com algorithm. But right now, Zach Osborne working his tail off as he is chasing down Jeff Carson, and Carson holding him off. And I'm fairly, here's the thing. Jeff Carson is the kind of driver who can hold a guy off for lap after lap, but even this deep into a run on a cloudy day, those tires are still nice and toasty. So his grip may be falling off just a hair here in stage one. One of the beauties of stage racing, especially here in the Xfinity Series, number one, the Xfinity Series cars, you can ask almost any iRacing.com driver or any real driver. I mean, these are tough machines to keep underneath you. There's a lot of horsepower at the rear. They want to spin out on you all the time, it seems. Even on racetracks where you're not really expecting to spin out, these things are starting to try to break loose. So a driver like Jeff Carson, and he is definitely one of those mad scientists as far as setups go. He's probably sitting there thinking about making maybe a pressure adjustment in the tires to improve his wear. And at the same time, maybe a chassis adjustment to get a little bit better of an entry and exit in these 4 turns tonight. As he is now side by side with Bennett Allen, as Bennett Allen up 15 positions now. Of course, he had started shotgun on the field. Bennett now running in 8th position as it looks like Carson still trying to hold on to that spot is not going to be put to bed early tonight. "39 laps of 200 complete tonight so far. We are working our way toward lap number 45 here in the MNN Xfinity Series race at Chicagoland Speedway. Of course, one of the interesting things about Chicagoland is that this is not part of the normal NASCAR schedule anymore. Of course, Chicagoland was on the schedule up until a couple of years ago, and then, of course, changes in the NASCAR structure had decided that maybe it was time to cease coming here on a regular basis. Of course, we haven't been here since 2019. And up until 2010, I mean, this Speedway had also hosted the IndyCar Series. So, it's a shame, especially in a town like Chicago, where, you've already got the big four sports. You've got the Bulls, you've got the Blackhawks, you've got the Cubs, the White Sox, and, of course, the Bears. And, the Bears, they're the monsters of Midway out there. But right now, tonight, Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series are the monsters in the Chicagoland area. Matt White still leading here as Matt White leads Eugenio Alonso, Mike Wright, Chad Sanner, and Brandon Minto in your top five. And, one of the things that I always think about when I think about Chicago is Mike Ditka, of course, the pride of Aliquippa High School. And he, of course, has a great restaurant in Chicago called Ditka's Restaurant, just in case it wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to be obvious. And I do have to stand corrected. It is closed. But at one time, Ditka's Restaurant in Chicago was a delicious place to go get yourself something here. And, here's the thing. In a town like Chicago that is always so hungry for winning, I mean, those 85 Bears are still legendary in this town. So, the 85 Bears, listen, I mean, without them, my stepbrother Ian would absolutely not, and not Ian Humphreys, but my stepbrother Ian probably wouldn't be a Bears fan himself. So, here's the thing. Pride of Aliquippa comes to Chicago, makes himself a name. Of course, Chicago, not the only big deal in Mike Ditka's life. Of course, he was the first receiving tight end in football history. Mike Ditka, of course, originally playing for the Dallas Cowboys in the early 1960s, was the first receiving tight end in NFL history, of course, making his name as a tight end. First tight end with 1,000 receiving yards, and then making himself a great name here in Chicago. And right now on lap number 45, we are getting ready to complete stage one here in MNN Xfinity Series racing action at Chicagoland. I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole of football randomality knowledge, but, listen, it's been a clean race so far. And Matt White going to win stage number one with Eugenio Alonso, Mike Wright, Chad Sanner, Brandon Minto, Zach Osborne, Bob Nestor, Bennett Allen, Jeff Carson, and Bobby Blazer. Rounding out your top 10, they will all be awarded stage points. And as Blazer passes the start-finish line, that will bring out the stage caution. So 46 clean laps here at Chicagoland. These drivers going to be getting ready to make some adjustments and get ready for stage number two as we see the man in the stand waving that yellow flag high in the air. And Matt White, your stage one winner. And right now in the broadcast booth, well, at least on the broadcast radio, we should have Matt White, your stage one winner here in MNN Xfinity Series action. Matt, we're going to hang on tight while you get your pit service, buddy. I have the timing of a nuclear warhead. It doesn't work out for me. Matt White getting his pit road service here, your stage one winner. Mike, I mean, Matt, I'm sorry. Gee, I can't stand when you and Mike are next to each other like this. Drives me nuts. And I'm drinking. It's not really great for that. Here's the thing, man. You had this car cranked up like crazy. I mean, how are you feeling in stage one?
Test.
There he is. Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of a technical difficulty. Matt White, go ahead and tell us again how stage one was going for you.
Stage one was going, it went really well there. We were a little loose, I think. But as the run was wearing off there, it started tightening up for me. So these guys are really quick. I was surprised I was able to keep in front of these guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the three guys, there in the top four that you were leading, I mean, they are among some of the toughest in MNN Xfinity Series action. So did you make any adjustments there, or are you just going to keep going there the way the car's dialed in now?
I made a couple adjustments there, just tighten her down just a little bit because I don't want to hurt the long run capability for the end of the race, because that's where this thing is really going to make the difference, is lap 40 to lap 60 is when I make all my time.
Well, man, listen, that's one heck of a strategy. And I mean, here we are. We're going to go back green just about on, should be lap 51 when we go back green, I believe, unless you're at 1 to go now. But no, yeah, there you go. Still at 2. But so it should be lap 51. So you've got then to go to lap number 90. So, I mean, listen, you just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. I was able to get into this race last minute, got put off work early today, so just happy to be here and put on a good show for the fans.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on that stage one win. Glad to have you with us.
All right, thank you so much, Dave. Have a good night.
And we will just have to take a moment. You'll have to forgive us for the technical difficulty, and stand by 1 second as we have just a few moments left here at the end of stage one. Stage number 1 is complete. Stage number 2 just getting ready to be underway here in the MNN Xfinity Series race at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth. Glad to have you with us as we will be going back green flag racing on lap number 51 here at Chicagoland Speedway. And quite frankly, folks, this has been one heck of a night so far. And, of course, restarting, it looks like Mike Wright, Eugenio Alonso, Matt White, your stage 1 winner, Brandon Minto, Chad Sander, Bennett Allen, Bob Nestor, Bobby Blazer, Jeff Carson, and Carlos Ramos round out your top 10. But right now, the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. He sees the cars coming. They get through the Geico restart zone, and we are back green flag racing at Chicagoland Speedway. Just a short breather as we went 45 laps altogether with no cautions in stage 1. Of course, I don't want to bring that broadcaster's curse out, but right now a lot of cold tires here as we're getting reset. And it almost looked like Santa was starting. Wow, we've got 3 wide, and Bob Nestor was the meat in that sandwich as Bennett Allen shot through that pack and now being chased down by Zach Osborne just behind him. We see the 97 of Carlos Ramos now being chased down by Bob Nestor, who is not going to be put to bed early tonight. As Nestor now being chased, getting ready to be passed by Zach Osborne. Not really sure what's going on or why he's trying to maybe save these tires at this stage in the race, but we have just a bit over lap number. We have to go just over about 40 laps now, just under 40 laps to lap number 90. And we can see Jeff Carson here in the number 9 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Of course, Napa, great sponsor. A couple of weeks ago, they helped us get some things underway. And looking back a little further here with Ian Humphreys, humping his way through the field now, up 5 positions from where he started, running in 12th position in the number 32 Toyota Supra, has this thing all the way wound up, chasing down Jeff Carson in the number 9. And now we can see Ian Humphreys getting high-low, not sure where to go, as he is in a Joe Gibbs Racing sandwich between Jeff Carson and SNN Series Commissioner Chris Claude in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra. Mike Wright leads the field now in front of Matt White, Eugenio Alonso, Brandon Minto, and Chad Sanner, rounding out your top 5, as they are single file through the top 5, and we can drop back here, and it's single file all the way back to Bobby Blazer in the number 90 machine. And I'll tell you what, Bobby Blazer, just an impressive driver to watch week in and week out here in the MNN Xfinity Series. And, I can't get enough of it, as it looks like Carlos Ramos sniffing around Bennett Allen, and I'll tell you what, not really sure if he's going to make his way through there as we get around this oval office of a racetrack in Chicago, just outside of Chicago, as Bennett Allen now holding off Zach Osborne, Carlos Ramos, and Bob Nestor, as they are all hungry to get past the rear bumper of Bennett Allen, and Bennett Allen up, as we had mentioned earlier, several positions, now a total of 16, running in 7th spot as he started shotgun on the field tonight. And folks, if you are just tuning in on YouTube.com, you just make sure to subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so you can be notified every time we are live on MNN Xfinity Series action here on Monday nights. Make sure that you're in the YouTube live chat. Let us know which driver you're pulling for tonight, as it looks like Jeff Carson working the inside now of Carlos Ramos. Carlos obviously not going to be giving up that outside lane anytime soon, as it looks like Carson can hold the bottom line as he is following teammate Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. And while these drivers try to decide who's going to come out on top, with Carlos Ramos here getting ready to work the low side, we are going to step aside and hear from our good friends over at Northeastern Fire and Air. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Lap 60 of 200 complete so far, as we are working our way toward lap number 90 here in the MNN Xfinity Series action from Chicagoland Speedway. Mike Wright leading the field in front of your Stage 1 winner, Matt White, who, of course, we had heard from in the stage break, as it looks like Matt White ready to work the outside of Mike Wright. And I'll tell you what, as I had mentioned earlier in our interview with Matt, it's going to be real tough, real fast if, quite frankly, I can't say those names fast enough. I mean, you got to remember, these drivers all night long are duking it out, and side by side the way they are, it's real tough sometimes to separate those names. Eugenio Alonso trying to hang back a little bit here just behind Mike Wright, but we're going to look further back in the field at the 16 of Zach Osborne being chased down, and quite a net of cars here. It's almost like a hornet's nest further back, as it looks like that Premier Racing Setup Shop 46 car of John Timms working the inside now of Bennett Allen, but being chased down by Aaron Mack. And now working the inside of Aaron Mack, it looks like he is going to work his way through. Is Bennett Allen going to be held up by Timms? Timms now the meat in a 3-wide sandwich between the 31 and the 3. At this point, Timms has nowhere to go but forward, as he is going to be pushed forward by the number 32. Of course, the 32 also a Premier Racing setup shop driver. Oh, and they make contact. We're sideways. This should bring out a caution. I don't see it yet, but it looks like we are going to be staying green, as we're going to take a look here at the 32 car of Ian Humphreys, as it looks like he had just gotten together with the 31, and it still appears that we are going to stay green. Very impressive, as everybody able to keep running, as Bennett Allen also having crashed. Not a good time for Bennett. We're going to take a look here at the MNN replay. And it looks like Bennett Allen may have just been frustrated enough to pull down onto the apron. And, of course, on iRacing.com, once you slow down to a certain speed, iRacing will decide that you had crashed instead of just basically, pulling over. But back live here on lap number 65. Looks like the 32 now being challenged by the 01 of Matt Mackin in the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. And Mackin thinks that he's going to try to tangle. But I'll tell you what, after what I had just seen with Ian Humphreys, if I was Matt Mackin, I'd give Ian Humphreys a little bit more breathing room here as we turn lap number 66 now of 200. While all of that mayhem is going on deeper in the field, Matt White and Mike Wright are just setting sail to log some laps here, as they have now Matt White a half-second lead over Wright, and Mike Wright has himself a 2-second lead over Brandon Minto and Chad Sanner, who is just barely a quarter of a second behind Brandon Minto. Chad Sanner chasing down Brandon Minto by just a quarter of a second. Mike Wright, being the master of being Mike left tonight, getting those turns in here as we go into turn 3. We see him now starting to fall behind Matt White by almost a full second, as he is 0.8 of a second behind race leader Matt White. So things definitely getting strung out here at the top of the leaderboard, as Ian Humphreys and Doug Argabright getting ready to do battle here, as it almost looks like Humphreys is ready to just put Argabright in the crosshairs. And meanwhile, Chris Claude's starting to make his way up through the field, as he is up 3 positions now, running in 16th place, just about 16/10 of a second behind Ian Humphreys, getting ready to go down here through this next round of turns, out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. It looks like Chris Claude looking to make the pass, yet he takes the high line, maybe maintaining a little bit more speed. We're going to stay right here for a minute, as this may be an interesting competition within the race, as Chris Claude looks like he's getting maybe a little frustrated, sitting behind Ian Humphreys, trying just to get around him and start working his way toward Argabright in the number 38. And we see Claude trying to find a way around and just not able to get her done right now, coming out of turn 4 yet again. But we see Claude with that loud pedal all the way to the floor. He gets his way underneath like a door wedge, gets his way in there. He is now side by side with Ian Humphreys and manages to secure the spot away from Humphreys one time. And now this battle for 15th position is hot and heavy, as Claude not making it easy for Humphreys to come out of turn 2 as they go into 3. It looks like Claude has a better run going into 3 and maybe coming out of 4. So if Claude's going to make a run, this is where he's got to get that pedal to the metal and make sure that he is chasing down Humphreys like somebody who owes him lunch money. And Humphreys goes high, allows Claude to get underneath. Maybe this was allowed, but all of a sudden Claude's starting to back off. My goodness, I wish somebody would make a decision here on where we're supposed to be, as Chris Claude coming down the backstretch, now backing off and giving Humphreys a little bit of real estate, as that seems to have settled itself back out. It's almost like, when you turn that pot up to boil according to the instructions on a pot of pasta, and next thing you know, it says, okay, now turn it down to simmer. Looks like Chris Claude has turned it down to simmer, as he is allowing Corey Burkett to pass him by, as Burkett is trying to work his way back up through the field. And while these drivers are working their way back up through the field in lap number 73, we are going to step aside and encourage you all to turn it up here on the Independence Racing Network. Taking a look now at Aaron Mack, who rubs the wall and makes himself get down back lower on the track, as he was just chasing down Bob Nestor and Zach Osborne, as it looks like Osborne trying to get a piece of the inside of Nestor here, as the two of them are trying to get a hold of Jeff Carson in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. Your race leader tonight at this moment is Matt White, your Stage 1 winner, now your Stage 2 leader, as we are on lap number 79, just about 11 laps now as we cross the start-finish line to the end of stage number 2 here in MNN Xfinity Series action. I'm Dave Regal here in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. Glad to have you in with us tonight. Glad to be back with you and better than ever. And here in the YouTube live chat, looks like, hey, how's the Mac doing tonight? Well, Aaron Mack right now running in 9th position, down 1 from where he had qualified. And yes, the official dependent, it is absolutely a beautiful track. I mean, here's the thing. I always thought that it was a sin that they decided to get rid of Chicagoland. on the schedule, because quite frankly, it's just a nice looking track overall. But of course, here, as far as the MNN Xfinity Series standings go, Mike Wright, right now running in your race lead, has gotten it away from Matt White. But Bobby Blazer in P2 on the MNN Xfinity Series standings, right now running in 5th position. Then Bob Nestor in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra in 3rd position on your point standings, 7th position right now on the racetrack. John Bawalda, inconspicuously not on track tonight, so kind of missing him, as he is currently 4th position in the point standings here for MNN Xfinity Series Racing. And Dakota Cave also missing from the racetrack tonight, so I'm fairly certain that we are going to see quite a shakeup in points as, some key players not on track tonight here in Joliet, Illinois. And fans, this just in from a fellow former Illinoisian. You know what? I don't even want to try to figure out what the people from Illinois call themselves. But it's apparently Joliet, Illinois. Joliet, for those of you that don't know, spelled the same way, and a small town in western Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. So obviously I had the two pronunciations confused. So I do apologize to the fine people of Joliet, Illinois. And, sometimes even the best of us here at the microphone can make a little bit of a mistake. Jeff Carson right now in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra, doing the best he can to try to get himself into the top 5 here at Chicagoland. Zach Osborne in 7th, Bob Nestor in 8th, Aaron Mack in 9th, and Carlos Ramos rounding out your top 10. Glad to have you with us in the YouTube.com live chat. Glad to have all of you checking in tonight. Make sure that you are subscribing, turning on those bell notifications, as Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing action is exclusively aired here on the Independence Racing Network, presented by our good friends over at Northeastern Fire and Air. And, of course, MNN Xfinity Series action is brought to you by RS Button Boxes and, of course, Butt Kicker. And, something that we all need to keep an eye on, of course, is our good friends over at RS Button Boxes and Butt Kicker. As here's the deal. So these drivers are out here really trying to dig down deep. Bear with me here. Here we are. A lot of leagues, you have to pay to get into, but this is a free entry league. These are drivers who are not paying to be here, so this is solely sponsored driven. And Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes have been very gracious. Of course, the champion of the MNN Xfinity Series here in 2022 will win himself or herself a Butt Kicker and the choice of an iFlag, or $100. Then second and third place will win Butt Kickers. Fourth place will win whatever the champion didn't choose, so either the iFlag or $100. Then the top non-playoff driver will win, again, whatever those two drivers didn't choose. But, in the point standings, it's a long season. It's not just a 200-lap race. It's, 32 weeks of nothing but door-handle to door-handle racing. And quite frankly, tonight, Mike Wright sitting atop the pile here at the end of Stage 2. Matt White working his way around the lap car of Alexander Gangler in the number 82 Cheerios Toyota Supra. Of course, Alexander usually race control for SNN Cup Series action on a Sunday night. And, of course, you can check them out over on Sim Racing Media and ESPN over on YouTube and Facebook. And, always appreciative of race control, because without them, a lot of times these races can turn into basically disasters, because there's nobody there keeping an eye on stuff. But, right now, tonight, there's really not a whole lot to keep an eye on, as the MNN Xfinity Series is just that good of a league. I mean, these drivers are out here, everybody is basically worried about their incidents per lap. something new to the SNN family of racing series. Of course, that's individual, and the incidents per lap, of course, determines, did you hit somebody? Did you bump into something? How clean of a driver are you? And Mike Wright, Matt White, Brandon Minto, Chad Sanner, and Bobby Blazer all proving that you can do this with a 0X. And we'll get into that at the conclusion of stage 2 here, as we're going to have a few minutes to talk. But Mike Wright wins stage number 2, followed by Matt White, Brandon Minto, Chad Sanner, Bobby Blazer, Jeff Carson, Bob Nestor, Aaron Mack, Zach Osborne, and Carlos Ramos, rounding out your top 10. They will, of course, all be awarded points for this stage, and we'll see if we can get a hold of Mike Wright here on the Independence Racing Network. We have our stage 1 winner here, Mike Wright, in the broadcast booth. He is bringing it down pit road. Mike Wright, Dave Regal in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Happy.
Hey, man, listen, congratulations on that stage 1 win. We're going to watch you slide into your pit box, and once you get done with your pit service, we'll have a chance to talk with you.
Oh, you go ahead.
Hey, man, listen, I hate when you and Matt White are side by side. Number one, it's always great competition, but man, as a guy who's sitting here with a Yingling Raging Eagle beer next to him, that can get really confusing after a while. So what do you attribute the stage 2 win to?
I think the biggest part there was just saving tires a little bit more. I think the tire wear is what kind of caught him off to where he got a little loose and got into the wall. So I think I probably still had a little bit more tire than he did, even if he didn't get the wall. But kind of saw that in the first stage too, and I just had 2 cars in front of me in the first stage, and just track position was a little bit hard to make it up there at the end of the run.
Yeah, man. The end of the run is where you absolutely were making hay, and now here entering stage 3, you're going to have basically a little bit more than 100 laps to go to get to that checkered flag. And you're poised to absolutely capture yet another checkered flag here in MNN Xfinity Series action. But right now you're being chased down by Brandon Minto and Jeff Carson. Do you think you've got the car for the long run here of just about over 100 laps?
So far it seems like long run seems to be in our favor. Everybody's working on their car and learning how it drives as they go as well. So even I'm making some adjustments, even though it feels pretty good on the long run. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens if we get no cautions like we did on those first 2 stages, because that'll be a nice long run for both stints, and the tires will be worn and greasy, and it might be fun to see. So maybe we'll get that.
All right, man. Well, listen, you make sure that you get out there, get those grips back in the tires, and listen, good luck here in stage 3. See if you can bring home yet another checkered flag.
I'll try hard for you.
All right, man. Listen, appreciate you, and we'll get you back up on there to back to Ferta Motorsports. And ladies and gentlemen, that was your points leader, and of course also your stage 2 winner, Mike Wright, driver of the number 98 Ford Mustang. And Mike is one of those drivers, number one, always a very humble guy. As he gets ready to lead the field, we see the number 86 car of Eugenio Alonso getting ready to take that free pass around the pace car this time, as we should be at 1 to go. And he gets himself around the pace car And Mike Wright will take that inside lane. The iRacing.com pace car has its lights out as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing here with Mike Wright leading the field, followed by Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Chad Sander, Bobby Blazer, Bob Nestor, Carlos Ramos, Zachary Vaughn, Doug Argabright, and John Timms. And remember, we do have the Geico Restart Zone enabled now on iRacing.com here in MNN Xfinity Series action. So things are about to get a lot more interesting as the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Mike Wright puts that visor down, and we are back green flag racing as we shoot out of the Geico Restart Zone, cross the start-finish line, and get ready to dive in to turn number 1. Jeff Carson now looking to the inside of Brandon Minto, trying to secure that spot and get single file here, as Jeff Carson, one of the best when it comes to tire saving. And as we had just heard from Mike Wright, I mean, if I want to see two drivers really be able to save tires and get through this load of fuel here in stage number 3, Mike Wright and Jeff Carson, absolutely two of the best in the business. And just behind Mike Wright, we do see, just behind Jeff Carson, we do see a little knot forming here with Brandon Minto, Chad Sander, and Bobby Blazer. That's definitely got to be a little disconcerting as we see Bobby Blazer working the inside of Chad Sander, and they are both working together to catch Brandon Minto, who Brandon Minto now working the inside of Jeff Carson. And you know what? Jeff Carson, one of those drivers who was more than glad to give that position to him so Minto can basically smoke those tires. As we come through the tri-oval, across the start-finish line on lap number 98, we see Carson with a run here on the top side, just enough to keep himself in front of Bobby Blazer this time. And Blazer now on the inside of Carson. So obviously Carson, not the restart that he wanted this time around, but at the same time, definitely not bad, as he is in great position now here in stage number 3. of 200 laps complete now, and just as we get ready to cross the start-finish line, one more time here, the MNN Xfinity Series action at Chicagoland is now officially halfway through, as we have gone 101 laps without a single caution for a wreck. Of course, we had a little kerfuffle earlier on in the race. These drivers have basically, the only two cautions that we've actually had were for stage breaks. These drivers have been working their tails off literally all night long to keep it clean. And Mike Wright absolutely running a clinic on to get that 0X. And for you folks that don't know, in iRacing, there, of course, is an algorithm that's always basically keeping an eye on how well you take care of your equipment, how well you're driving that race car, how safe you are, so on and so forth. And, here in MNN Xfinity Series racing, and of course, Sunday Night NASCAR, as well as Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, we're concerned about incidents per lap and how safe of a driver you are. And I'll tell you what, I would be willing to bet that through these top 10, Zach Osborne, Aaron Mack, Matt White, Zachary Vaughn, Bob Nestor, Jeff Carson, Bobby Blazer, Brandon Minto, Chad Sanner, and your race leader, Mike Wright. I would be willing to bet if I pulled up their race or their statistics that not a one of them is in any kind of danger with their incidents per lap, as they have absolutely proven time and time again that they are a class act. Bobby Blazer working the inside of Brandon Minto as they come through the Geico restart zone. Looks like Bobby Blazer going to be able to keep it just down toward that white line, but Minto up there on the nice, easy surface of the high side of the track, able to get the run over top of Blazer. Looks like Carlos Ramos getting ready to come down pit road. Not sure what's going on with him as we are at 105 of 200 laps. Trying to see what exactly might have happened here, and I don't see anything bad happening to Carlos Ramos, so perhaps he has some type of other issue going on. But Mike Wright is your Pied Piper of Chicagoland, and right now we are going to step aside and pay some bills here on the Independence Racing Network. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
Welcome back here to the Independence Racing Network studios here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone, operating the ones and twos and everything in between. Right now, we're watching some Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action here at Chicagoland Speedway. And I'll tell you what, these drivers have been duking it out all night. Right now, your Stage 2 winner is currently your Stage 3 leader, Mike Wright in the number 98 Blue Oval Ford, followed by Chad Sanner, Brandon Minto, Bobby Blazer, and Matt White. Rounding out your top 5, your top 10 are comprised, of course, Rounding the rest of them out with Jeff Carson, Bob Nestor, Aaron Mack, Zachary Vaughn, and Zach Osborne. And we can see right now, it looks like the number 9 car, and I'm just going to take a look over here on this monitor, but it looks like the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra working his way around Nestor. I mean, these guys all night long have been going at it. I mean, remember, the 9 and the 29 are teammates, so they're going to be trying to duke it out a little bit harder here as we get later into the race. Not necessarily for anything but bragging rights, quite frankly. So here we are on lap number 113 of 200, stage 1 and 2 complete, and now we are in the, whoa! Nestor gets into the back of Carson. That is uncharacteristic of Bob Nestor, as that never happens, to be completely honest with you. So it'll be interesting to hear how that gets explained. We're going to run that back real quick. And we're going to sit right here with Nestor, as it looks like he just overcooked it getting into the corner here. No real damage. Yeah, he just overcooked it getting into Carson, who was, of course, checking up with Blazer in front of him. So definitely something that, we're not used to seeing, where Nestor and Carson getting into one another on the racetrack. But Nestor now chasing down Bobby Blazer, who is slowly but surely kind of dropping back in the standings here tonight, as Blazer running 5th right now, but quickly being chased down by Carson and Nestor. Of course, your race leaders we had just mentioned, Mike Wright here. Mike Wright, your points leader, your race leader, your stage 2 winner. That's a whole lot of errs here atop the pile, as he has opened up a 1.24 second lead over Minto. And, Minto, of course, having gotten himself as high up as he could, now it's starting to look like Eugenio Alonso going to be the next lap down victim for Mike Wright, as it looks like he's about 12 seconds behind him. But just 1.37 seconds now separate Mike Wright and Brandon Minto. And as we had heard during his interview at the end of stage number 2, Mike Wright definitely planning on saving tires. So if he has gotten himself out this far by saving tires, I would obviously expect him to come down pit road only when it's time for fuel. And another great tire saver, Bobby Blazer, another clean driver right behind him. Jeff Carson and Bob Nestor, of course, we had just seen a little scuff up between the 29 and the 9. But, they obviously have gotten themselves back to where they belong. And, of course, we had just seen them getting ready to work their way around Carlos Ramos. Ramos, who's in the middle here between Nestor and the 31 car of Aaron Mack, kind of holding Mack up, as Mack is desperately trying to catch Nestor, running right now in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra. Taking a look here at Jeff Carson, I know that we've been talking about him quite a bit, but he is currently up 4 positions from where he had qualified. Now running in 6th place. Your biggest mover and shaker of the evening at this point is Matthew Hellman, the number 29 Premier Racing Setupshop.com Toyota Supra, as he has this thing cranked all the way up 8 spots from where he had started. He started 22nd, so second from the rear, and now getting himself all the way up into 14th. So, good for him. I mean, here's the thing. You can sit there all night and, you can worry about all the little things. But, right now, the 25 is just out there logging laps, getting it done. And that's fine. You don't have to get all crazy. You don't have to get, frustrated. I mean, you're absolutely going to. But, you've still got just about 80 laps to go here as we are on lap number 121 of 200. And, keeping an eye on Bob Nestor, something that we had talked about earlier. Bob Nestor had gotten in the back of Jeff Carson, and kind of interested to see maybe what happens here. Is it almost seems like he's a little loose on exit, and we'll see him make his entry into turn 3. And we can hear him babying that throttle, but the back end of this car just kind of wants to snap out on him. So, Bob Nestor, absolutely one of those mad scientists that we had talked about earlier. And, of course, your MNN Xfinity Series commissioner, the pride of Lansdale, Pennsylvania, the 29 driver is. As, quite frankly, Bob has put a lot of work into this particular league. I mean, he is not the faint of heart. He is able to be a leader, and that's exactly what these drivers coming through the SNN Cup Series ranks need. And here we are an hour and a half in. These drivers have not given one bit of ground up to one another without a fair fight. Something that's always interesting to me here in the MNN Xfinity Series is how clean everybody drives. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to see these drivers working their tails off, but doing so with the absolute, most respect that I've seen in most of the iRacing servers. Jeff Carson now working the inside of Bobby Blazer, trying to keep his 5th position here and stay in the top 5. But Blazer, one heck of a tough and talented driver he is, working the high side of Jeff Carson right now, and Blazer backs off wisely. Bob Nestor now dropping back just a tick further here, running in 8th position. But right now, the closest and most exciting competition here on the track right now at Chicagoland being held between Bobby Blazer and Jeff Carson, as we just can't peel our eyes away from it for too long, as of course Corey Burkett being chased down by Zachary Vaughn. And Zachary Vaughn, one of those drivers that, here he is running where he started in 13th position. And that's a pretty conservative thing to do right now. You don't want to get too greedy, but you don't at the same time want to get driven over top of, and unfortunately we see that more often than anything in this league where, these drivers are out here trying to beat the brakes off of their competitors in some cases, and then at the same time, complete opposite end of the spectrum, you see guys that are just out here logging laps, knowing that they will pick those positions up as they become available, not necessarily taking those positions whenever they want. It's not that I'm trying to, but, I'll tell you what, these Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers are absolutely some of the cleanest in iRacing. And here we are, 130 laps of 200 complete, and still no caution for an accident, crash, a wreck, not even debris out on the track. Folks, if you are just tuning in to YouTube.com, you are watching the Independence Racing Network here on YouTube, proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air and MNN Xfinity Series action brought to you by Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. Glad to have you all with us tonight as some great racing going on as Mike Wright, your Pied Piper of Joliet, Illinois, being followed by Brandon Minto, Matt White, Chad Sanner, and Jeff Carson in the top 10. Bobby Blazer still looking to try to get around him, but right now, Bobby being chased down by Aaron Mack, who, of course, has himself a little bit of a fan club here. The official Dependa cheering on the number 31 machine of Aaron Mack, and Aaron Mack, of course, qualifying in 8th, currently running in 7th, and just ahead of the great Bob Nestor. Of course, I say the great Bob Nestor because he is our reigning Truck Series champion in this series of racing. And, you know, here's the thing. Chris Claude, the driver of the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra, you know, he has assembled a great team of leaders. Some really great driving goes on here week in and week out. And quite frankly, I don't know what we would do without the guidance of Chris Claude. And, of course, he lets, you know, these guys who run, you know, who are the commissioners of Xfinity and trucks kind of do their own thing, but they manage to come together kind of like a group of umpires in a baseball game to meet and talk about things and, you know, constant communication. So always glad to see that, especially in an environment like we have here on iRacing.com. And we are under caution as it looks like Brad Gunn has gotten himself wrapped up into a problem. And we'll take a look here. And we'll take a look at Brad Gunn here in the 36 Chevrolet right in the middle of your screen. We see him down against the white line. Not real sure what's going on, but it's almost like he had some kind of a mechanical problem. The car fishtails down the back stretch, and he just takes it right on through the grass. So after 138 complete laps on lap number 139, we do have our first actual caution of the evening. So the drivers will get themselves re-racked, and while they do that, we will step aside and hear from our sponsors here on the Independence Racing Network. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
Welcome back to Joliet, Illinois, here at Chicagoland Speedway and MNN Xfinity Series action. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth of Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. Glad to have you in with us tonight here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. And, you know, folks, one of the things that we're always watching here on MNN is, you know, it took 140 laps, well, 139 laps, before there was a reason for a caution. And in a lot of leagues, that's almost unheard of. I mean, sometimes cautions are suddenly like, you know, cockroaches, where they just come out of nowhere and you're not sure where they're going or where they're going to, you know, when they're going to go away. But as we get reset here, Mike Wright and Brandon Minto sit atop row one. Then just behind them, Chad Sander, Bobby Blazer, and Zach Osborne rounding out the top five, with Bob Nestor, John Timms, Chris Claude, Doug Argabright, and Matthew Helm killing the top 10 list here. And, you know, congratulations to Chris Claude, who is now up 11 positions, and Matthew Helm up 12 positions as the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. We get ready to go back green flag racing here. The green flag waves as we come through the Geico restart zone, and we are back underway at Chicagoland Speedway. John Tim's spotter almost came on the radio and said, 3 wide, you're the meat, but he was able to get himself in front of Chris Claude and the 38 of Doug Argerbright. We are going to take this as we are now at, my goodness, Chris Claude must have had himself an incident. We'll take a look here as we are back under caution. I guess cautions have bred cautions. And not real sure what happened with Chris Claude, so we'll take a look here. And we see Chris Claude here in the number 10, right in the middle of this little package here. And the 25 comes in and just gives him a bump and manages to push him out of the way. Just under 60 laps to go, and most of these drivers should be able to make it now, as looks like most of them came in on lap number 139. And, of course, caution laps will save you some fuel, especially if you can cycle that ignition box off and on. And at the very, very important part here, you know, the 25 of Matthew Helm apologizing to Chris Claude. Of course, Chris down in the pits getting some damage repaired on his number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra. And you know what? Chris is running one heck of a race. Of course, he was up 11 positions at the restart this time around. So sad to see him now down here in 17th position. But that won't change things for Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, Brandon Minto atop the pile.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Well, the iRacing.com pace car lights are out here on lap number 147. We will be going back green flag racing on lap 148. Here at Chicagoland Speedway, I'm Dave Regal here on the Independence Racing Network, proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air, as we had just heard from our good friends over there at NEFA. And the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. That means that we will be going back green flag racing any moment here, as we can see Mike Wright with control of the field. And we're going to take a quick look here inside his cockpit as he is in the Geico restart zone, which is new here, as this is the first week for that restart zone. We see Mike Wright taking off and running through the gears here on the restart on lap number 148. Folks, turn it up and listen to the amazing sounds of MNN Xfinity Series action. $153 of 200 complete here at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Regal here in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. We are live on YouTube.com. Make sure that if you are just tuning in on YouTube, subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as the Independence Racing Network is the exclusive broadcast provider of MNN Xfinity Series racing. And folks, heck of a race tonight, as we have had a fairly clean race. I mean, two cautions that, of course, I don't want to say we're unavoidable, because everything is always avoidable, especially here on the racetrack. Mike Wright with now a 0.6 of a second lead over Bobby Blazer. And, of course, Bobby Blazer, the way that we're set up on point series, Mike Wright leads the points, Bobby Blazer in second. And tonight here at Chicagoland, Mike Wright leading the race, Bobby Blazer in second. So I'm sure, I don't want to say that he's none too happy, but I am sure that at this point in the race, with just 6/10 of a second, you can see there in the top of your screen the distance between each driver, the relative distance, that, quite frankly, we're nose to tail through those first 2 or 3 spots. But then a long distance back to Minto, who is basically in no man's land, with about 1.5 seconds between himself and Chad Sanner, and 0.5 second between himself and Zach Osborne. And make sure that you're calling a friend and tell them to check in with us on the Independence Racing Network here in YouTube.com. Glad to have each of you with us. Make sure that you are talking here in the live chat, as it looks like the official dependent has been checking in all night, but not sure who else is pulling for a specific driver. Of course, Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, both fan favorites here in MNN Xfinity. So I'm sure sooner than later we've got to see somebody come in that YouTube live chat and give them a round of applause, a pat on the back, "You'll be okay, buddy. There's always next week. Go get them." Whatever it is, it's always available in the YouTube.com live chat. Aaron Mack starting to work his way toward Brandon Minto, as he is looking to close the gap now, as Minto has just 0.3 of a second over top of Aaron Mack, and it looks like Aaron Mack is getting closer as we go deeper in this run. Brad Gunn now down some lappage here, as he is in the 21st spot, and at this point has been in the pits for 17 minutes 58 seconds. So more likely than that, he is not going to come out with the same looking car that he went in with. You know, these drivers all week long working their tails off. Mike Wright has this set up tonight dialed in like a direct line phone number. Bobby Blazer running second, Chad Sanner in third, Aaron Mack in fourth. But Brandon Minto rounds out your top 5 in the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro. Then John Timms and Jeff Carson are in 6th and 7th respectively, with Zach Osborne, Zachary Vaughn, and Doug Argabright rounding out the top 10. Of course, those are the best. Here are the rest: Matt Mack and Bob Nestor, Ian Humphreys, Corey Burkett, Matthew Helm, Chris Claude, Carlos Ramos, and Alexander Gangler round out the top 18 cars on the lead lap. Of course, we only started with 23. But you know what? If there's anybody that I trust to try to build something, to try to make something better than what it is, I would say it's my dear old dad, Ray Regal, of course, owner of Northeastern Fire and Air, sponsor and sole broadcast provider of MNN Xfinity Series Racing. And quite frankly, at this stage in the game, now it's getting to be just about time to start maybe being a little bit more aggressive. Chris Watkins, welcome into the YouTube.com live chat. Looks like he is pulling for all of the EE Sports drivers with the Adrenaline Spike Designs paints. Of course, the 90, the 48, the 32, the 97, and the 25. So take a look here at the number 90, of course, driven by second place on your point standings, Bobby Blazer. And trying to get a better camera view of this, as Blazer is turning laps and getting to the end of the day. Of course, it seems like he's already burned a significant amount of tires off. And, you know, I'm sure that the lady that was kind of slow in the elevator the other night doesn't do it again. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do, right? 167 of 200 laps in as we are in stage number 3 here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Regal here in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. Glad to have you in with us tonight. Make sure that you're subscribing, turning on those bell notifications, and of course you can always follow us over on Facebook.com/IndependenceRN. And Mike Wright, your race leader tonight with 167 laps in, of course your stage 2 winner. Followed by Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Blue Oval Ford, Chad Sanner in the number 59 Chevrolet, Aaron Mack and Jeff Carson. Of course, Jeff Carson in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. Rounding out that top 5, Brandon Minto, John Timms, Zach Osborne, Doug Argerbright, and Zachary Vaughn round out the top 10.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Just over 25 laps to go here at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Regal here in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. Things starting to calm down here as far as, the door handle to door handle as we have gotten 174 laps in. And as Mike Wright, your race leader, comes across the start-finish line, we are now on lap 175 of 200. Bobby Blazer second in points, but right now running third on this track. Trying to get himself back up behind Chad Sanner. And, of course, the next driver on your points standings is Bob Nestor. Bob working his way around Doug Argerbright, chasing down the number 91 of Zachary Vaughn. And I'll tell you what, Bob getting his way with Doug Argerbright. Of course, most of the time you'll hear on the iRacing.com race radio, hey, listen, I'll go high, you go low. But Bob just fast enough to be able to get around without asking too many questions. Bob Nestor now settling into that final spot in the top 10 in front of Argabright, got his way around him, and now looking ahead to Zachary Vaughn. Looks like just about 4/10 of a second separating Vaughn from Nestor. And then John Timms, of course, with nearly a 3-second lead over Zach Osborne. That's impressive. A 1.4-second lead. Apparently, I can't look at numbers correctly tonight. But, these drivers, this is where we're going to start to see, everything kind of heat up here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing, as we are just about 23 laps to go, now 22 laps to go here at Chicagoland in Joliet, Illinois. And, one of the things that I've always found interesting about Joliet is, for starters, there are some really interesting track records here at Chicagoland. Of course, in the Xfinity Series, which we're running right now, Ryan Newman holds, and we see the 16 of Zach Osborne, obviously not able to make it on fuel coming down pit road. We'll see if he takes a couple of tires too, maybe. It does look like Zachary Vaughn taking 4 tires. And getting that tank of Go Fast, and he hits the loud pedal, gets off from his pit box, and now takes off down pit road. So he's obviously thinking something that nobody else is. Of course, Brad Gunn, a longtime tenant here on pit road, as he has been down there for quite a long time, 28 minutes, and obviously trying to get things done. So Ryan Newman on July 8th, 2005 set the track record here with a 28.964 qualifying effort, and I'll tell you what, that's impressive. That is something that you aren't going to see very often. Then, of course, Joey Logano has the race-winning record, as he was able to complete the Xfinity Series race at an average speed of 147.340 miles per hour, and finished the race itself in 2 hours, 2 minutes. And, here we are just about 11 minutes away from that 2 hour mark. So we'll see if these next 19 laps can perhaps break the race finish originally set by Joey Logano. Well, with 18 laps to go, we'll take a look at the top 10. Mike Wright, of course, still sitting on the top of the pile with Chad Sanner just behind him in P2, trailing him right now by 3.5 seconds. Aaron Mack in third, Brandon Minto in fourth, Bobby Blazer rounds out the top 5 with Jeff Carson, John Timms, and Bob Nestor, your top 8, Doug Argabright and Corey Burkett working their way into the top 10. As Burkett, of course, had started in 11th, so just outside the top 10. And, of course, Doug Argabright coming in a little late to the season, but better late than never, as he has also shown his talent this year so far as a baseball fan of the Reading Fightin' Phils up there in Reading, Pennsylvania. Whoa! And the 38 gets a little close to the wall, maybe a little too close for comfort. That opens the door, of course, to the 13 being able to scoot on through as Nestor takes the hit. While we have some time, let's step aside. You turn it right on up. Well, there's an interesting development here with 12 to go. Looks like Bob Nestor trying to save some fuel here. We do see a little bit of a crinkle here. You know what? Let's ride with Nestor, as that's something that we don't always get to see. And it just so happened that we were here when it happened. So we're going to see Nestor come down the backstretch. And remember, this track almost no straight line in it. And as Bob gets ready to go into turn 3, we see him cut off that engine. We're going to see him try it one more time here. Maybe he'll do it this time. There it is. Yep, he drops that all the way down there, kills that ignition box, because at this point he knows that he is probably gambling with fuel. And I mean, you know, to be honest, at the price of fuel right now, you got to shut off where you can and save those RPMs and those miles per gallon, even at a place like Chicagoland Speedway here in Joliet, Illinois. Now, of course, we saw Bob Nestor saving fuel the best that he could there just a moment ago. Let's see if our race leader, Mike Wright, might be trying the same thing. We're going to take a look here. We see Mike Wright backing that corner up as he is saving tires. So I guess not only is he saving tires, but he's also saving fuel here. And it looks like Nestor has had himself an incident. Riding along here with Bob Nestor, I'm afraid what we may have seen is Bob running out of fuel. And we're going to listen to that engine sputter. And yep, that would be the end of Bob's fuel run. Hopefully he's got enough to get himself back around. But I'll tell you what, at this point, I don't see a whole lot of promise there. Of course, this came just in time for Mike Wright, who had just been getting ready to start having to save fuel. Bob Nestor now having to get himself some service. I'm going to assume that Bob wound up having to get himself towed. We're going to take a look here. And we see this here as Bob, you know, came to a complete rolling stop. And of course, he decides to hit that good old-fashioned tow button and get himself out of harm's way. But unfortunately for Bob, that's definitely going to screw his night over, as he was running so well here and trying his best to save fuel. But now with 6 to go, we're setting ourselves up for quite a finish here. Well, I'll tell you what, quite an interesting finish coming your way, folks, as we have 5 to go now. It's going to be quite a shootout as many of these drivers, Mike Wright came down pit road and looks like he took 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast. Then, of course, Chad Sanner. Looks like about your top 5 all took tires down pit road. Looks like Doug Argerbright, the only top 10 driver not to get tires, as it looks like he may have been fuel only. So we will absolutely be taking a look here at Argerbright once we get ready to restart here. And this should, as the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, set up the natural green-white checker. Of course, by natural green-white checker, that means that here with 3 to go when we come back to the line, the green flag will fly. Then, of course, getting all the way around will be the next challenge, as many of these drivers going to be on cold tires, but still trying to drive the wheels off of these puppies. So we may see a little bit of slippage. And, of course, speaking of slippage, we see Doug Argerbright here not taking tires this last stop. As everybody in the field, just about everybody in the field, came down on lap number 194. But one more time, we're going to see the flag man up there in the stand have the green flag in his hand. They come through the Geico restart zone. Mike Wright takes this jump and gets across the start-finish line, lickety split. He leads Brandon Minto and Chad Sanner down through the front stretch and into turns 1 and 2. Looks like Minto going to simply fall in single file here, but I'll tell you what, right now the hungry driver of the night is going to be Jeff Carson, up 6 positions from where he had qualified. Carson looking to the inside of Sanner. No dice there, as he is now going to have to hold off that lightning quick Bobby Blazer, as Bobby Blazer usually blazing a trail. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Carson going to have to make that car just about 3 wide, all of its loathsome, as we come through that turn 3 and 4 complex here. One more time, we see Mike Wright down the backstretch. And remember, folks, that backstretch is not straight. There is still a little bit of a shape to that. And Mike Wright brings the field down. Right now, it looks like Brandon Minto has laid the fastest lap down, as we are just about 7 seconds away from beating the Chicagoland track record. Obviously will not be beaten tonight in MNN Xfinity Series action. But Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Chad Sanner right now your top 3. And it seems like Sanner and Minto not sure who's going to finish where, as Sanner looking to the inside now of Brandon Minto. We see him try to get Minto loose, maybe take a little bit of that air off the rear of the car. Mike Wright laying a 30.65 second lap, takes the checkered flag. And oh my goodness, Mike Wright chalks up another win here in MNN Xfinity Series action. Right now, just waiting for our top 3 to get down to the broadcast booth so we can have a chat with them. Of course, Mike Wright celebrating this win And we do see Mike Wright here in the broadcast booth. Mike Wright, Dave Regal in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Copy. Nice to talk to you again.
Hey, man, listen, yeah, you get the Stage 2 win. You get the race win here after Stage 3. I mean, it just seems like you do nothing but rack up trophies here in this league, brother.
Yeah, we're doing a good job. You know, I think we've hit a stretch of tracks that seem to have some pretty good tire wear, so I seem to be doing pretty well with that. So definitely enjoyed the run of track so far. It's been a nice mixture, though. We've had some mile and a halves. We had Iowa thrown in there, too. So it's just tire wear tracks, and it seems like I can keep the tires under, but still get some short run speed there for some cautions.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you know, week after week, we hear you talk about saving tires. We hear, you know, about taking care of your equipment. I mean, you know, of course, I was explaining to the viewers that, you know, right now we're working on the incidents per lap system, you know, to keep these races clean. And I mean, in all honesty, I mean, just one heck of a race. I mean, you guys race such a clean race here in the MNN Xfinity Series League. I mean, you're never really that far back. So, you know, out front there, I guess the most that you ever really have to worry about is getting around those lap cars, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we tend to have a good top five for most of the races that are pretty competitive and even, and that kind of rotates a little bit just depending on the track. And you know, I'm sure there's some weeks where practice time's at a premium for some people, and I've had that along the way too. So you never know who hits the track that they like and who's had time to practice during the week. And you know, it kind of shows up halfway through the race because you can kind of see who's learning a little bit as the race goes, which is always interesting to see. And I feel like I do a decent job of that during the race, and you know, we've been able to pull off some wins here.
Absolutely. And, you know, one other thing that I do want to ask, we were riding around with Commissioner Bob Nestor for about a lap and a half, and he was cycling that ignition off and on. Would you have been able to make it to the end of the race if not for that caution toward the end?
Oh yeah, nothing for the burnout too.
Nice. Nice. Excellent. All right, brother. Well, listen, anybody that you'd like to tip your cap to here at the end of this piece?
You know, Brandon for the team. You know, we working well together on Monday nights, and I enjoy it. And I can tell he's getting better and better with the Xfinity car. He's been in the truck a lot more and runs well, and he's been doing really well in the Xfinity cars on Monday night. And so I appreciate him. And then I got Larry kind of spotting for me and let me know some of the things going on around the track from a TV camera view. So I appreciate them.
All right, man. Well, listen, we appreciate you. We appreciate you keeping these races exciting, especially here toward the end when, you know, biggest fear for everybody is, are you going to have enough fuel? So you definitely came out atop the pile. Of course, retain that top spot in the point standing. So thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
That was Mike Wright. And right now, his good buddy here, Brandon Minto, finishing second position tonight. Brandon Minto, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I gotcha.
Listen, man, heck of a race. I mean, you know, it turned into a fuel mileage thing here toward the end as you were able to save tires so well. I mean, would you have been able to make it on fuel if that caution hadn't come out at the end?
I definitely think I would have made it. I don't know how Mike, like, because talking with Mike, he said he was good, but he was driving away from the pack, and I'm like, I'm back here saving as much fuel as I possibly can, and I'm driving slow there, and I'm barely gonna make it. So I don't know how he was gonna make it, but Mike's just got those skills. I don't know how he does it.
Look, if Thomas Edison was the wizard of Menlo Park, Mike Wright is the wizard of tire saving and fuel conservation. I mean, you guys all, you know, especially in this league, work your tails off week in and week out to have a clean race. Now, how's that IPL system, the incidents per lap system, working out for you, Brandon?
I mean, I feel like I'm one of the cleaner drivers. Well, this whole league's pretty much clean, but like I'm a very clean driver. If I see somebody has more speed than me, I'm not going to fight them too hard unless it's like 10, 15 laps to go. And because I just know how much or how important it is to like save tires. So instead of fighting hard for 3 or 4 laps, I'm just going to give up the position, and hopefully they burn out their tires, and then I'll lay it back behind them until they burn their tires, and I'll pass them. But I don't race too aggressively. I don't make too many aggressive moves, and that's probably why I'm usually always finishing second, third. I'm not getting too many wins, but like I'll take it as long as Ferda's out there winning.
Listen, I mean, it's all about the team, especially, this time of year when we're right here in the heart of your schedule. I mean, here we are in June, and of course we still have another 5 months to get to November. I mean, and you've already been together for 4 months since February. I mean, you guys have a long season ahead of you. So the teamwork and the camaraderie really do help you get through these long races.
Absolutely. Just the whole discussions I have with Mike, and then Mike will be giving me some feedback just because he's obviously very good. He's a very good driver out here, so like he'll try to like coach me through a little bit while he's out here still turning fast laps. He's out coaching while driving. But yeah, teamwork makes this whole, or I'll go ahead and say it, teamwork make the dream work out here.
Hey man, I absolutely get it. And before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to tip your cap to tonight?
Absolutely. My mom and dad, they're always out here watching. My Uncle Scott, my grandma, they're all up in Michigan right now, watching, checking into the broadcast. I love going back and rewatching the replay, so I got to go ahead and give you a shout out for putting on a great broadcast that I get to go show off around work, just show my hobbies and everything. And then my main sponsors, Get Upside. So with the rising gas prices, go ahead and download the Get Upside app and use promo code Brandon5623344, and that'll save you a little bit of money on gas. And Lord knows we all need as much fuel savings as we possibly can.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. And listen, we'll cut you loose here. We appreciate you, Brandon, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
That, of course, was Brandon Minto, second place finisher. And, I would be remiss if we didn't at least get a hold of Mr. Chad Sanner, your third place winner this evening. Of course, the Smithfield, PA representative. A lot of guys from Pennsylvania in this league. Chad, of course, myself, Bob Nestor, Mike Wright. I lie. Mike Wright is from Greensboro, North Carolina, but a lot of Pennsylvanians. So, Chad, glad to have you in with us. Listen, how are you going to make out on fuel?
Yeah, well, those guys saying that they could make it, I don't know if I buy that because I was a good 5 laps out. I don't think I was even close.
Listen,
so,
we were riding along with Bob Nestor at one point, and I just so happened we were having a Turn It Up segment, and I just so happened to go into Bob's car and caught him cycling the ignition off and on, while under green. I mean, which is always, to me, the most stressful thing in the entire world. But, I mean, were you doing the same thing?
At one point, I started to do that, and then I was like, dude, how am I going to save 5 laps? Like, 5 laps is a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'm just hammering down and taking my chances. And I actually told a couple of my guys to go in and get fuel because I knew we all had to, pit. So go get fuel and tires early and try to run down. But that ended up being bad at the end because of the caution. But it made it a little bit more exciting at the end of the caution. There's no way, though. I know I wasn't making it on fuel. Not a chance.
Yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of guys starting to stress it out. I'm always the one that winds up making the mistake and thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to be just fine. And it usually happens to me on like a super speedway or a speedway like, Chicagoland here, where I'm thinking, I'm here, we're this close to the end, the heck with it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't know. Actually, I was just going to come in and get a little splash and go. I figured it was going to be like 4 or 5 laps. That's all I needed to get. It kind of was a bummer. I actually thought on that last caution, I didn't want to give up track position, but I was really thinking about after, going back in again when we came back around on the one to go and just getting more fuel because that might have made the difference. But I was kind of worried about giving up that track position.
Track position is like a siren call to those of us who spend a lot of time out here on track. I mean, especially late in the race when you're thinking, man, I don't know if I have enough to crawl all the way through this mess cleanly. And, you probably, obviously, you rolled the dice and you wound up here on the podium. And I mean, speaking of cleanly, I've been checking in with everybody as much as I can be. The incidents per lap, I mean, were you able to finish with that 0x, which is, of course, so coveted right now?
Yep, 0x, definitely. And it was awesome. All the guys up front, man, that was awesome racing tonight. Bobby, Brandon. I mean, we didn't really have anything for Mike. And then there was, the guys that early, like Matt, before he crashed. And yeah, it was all clean racing. It was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, something that I've talked about so much even in other series that I call for over on Sim Racing Media. I mean, this is becoming one of the most competitive leagues, and at the same time, one of the cleanest leagues because, the leadership in MNN and the SNN family of racing, I mean, has just really put clean driving at the forefront of the goal here.
Which is awesome, man. I know you've been around from the beginning, and I've been around from just a few races into when he started it, and it's awesome to see now just getting these long runs and it's just fun racing and awesome.
Trust me, there's a reason that Bob said, "Hey, why don't you sit up in a broadcast booth and give this a shot?" He didn't need anybody down there mucking it up for guys like you trying to finish on the podium, my brother.
Nah, man, you're fine. You drive good. You could be up there.
If I tried hard enough, yeah.
Yeah.
But, hey, listen, before we cut you loose, anybody you'd like to tip your cap to?
Honestly, yeah, my whole team, man, all my guys are brand new. They've just been iRacing for less than a year, and they are all fast. And I guess they've stepped me up to a different level now because I feel like I owe them building good sets and giving them the best that we can. So I've been working super hard. I'm probably not going to race these MNN Monday night races. I'm just going to help those guys most of the time because I kind of focus on the cup stuff. But we didn't have any races this weekend, so it was kind of boring for me. And I wanted to race, but yeah, those guys are all working so hard and they've come so far in 20 races. So gotta give them a shout out. That's the guys that need the shout out.
Hey, man, listen, I get it. After a weekend where, most of the series are off, you get that itch. And you know what? This is an absolutely awesome opportunity to come out and get some great racing in. So, Chad, we thank you, and I appreciate the kind words because, it's a community. And everybody here, especially in MNN, after the normal hiccups that you get in a season, everybody's really starting to gel here in the meat of the season. So it's great to have you here on track in MNN Xfinity Series racing because it keeps it interesting, especially here at the end.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And you don't do bad at all, man. I've raced around you a ton out there, and you got it going on, so that's good too.
Hey, man, much appreciated. Chad, we're going to say goodnight, but appreciate you. And, quite frankly, this is one of those times where it's always nice from a broadcast perspective to look down and see these guys from this level and see everybody gelling together. I mean, especially as we're heading into these tough summer months where, the weather's hot, the racing is even hotter. And, these gentlemen and lady who's actually Emily Urias not on track tonight, but these gentlemen and lady here in MNN Xfinity Series action are really laying it all out, and they work so hard every week to bring you some awesome racing here on the Independence Racing Network. So we'll take a look here at the final results. Mike Wright sitting atop the pile from Ferda Motorsports, of course, bringing home yet another win on the season. Brandon Minto finishing second. Chad Sanner, who we just heard from, finishing third. Jeff Carson finishing fourth. Aaron Mack, Bobby Blazer, Carlos Ramos, John Timms, Corey Burkett, and Doug Argabright rounding out your top 10. Alexander Gangler, usually race control on a Sunday night, decides to come out here on the track on a Monday night to hang out with the guys. Finishing 11th, Zachary Vaughn, Zach Osborne, Matt Mackin, Chris Claude, your SNN Cup Series commissioner, finishing 15th. Then, of course, we look at Ian Humphreys, Eugenio Alonso, Matthew Helm, Bob Nestor, your MNN Xfinity Series commissioner, who ran out of fuel, blew that engine here at the very end of the race, finishing 19th as Matt White, your Stage 1 winner, finishing 20th after he had gotten it all wrong later on in the race. Brad Gunn, Bennett Allen, and Jackson Derby round out the remaining cars in the field tonight, all 23 of them. So, glad to have everybody in with us. We're glad to be back on the air this week after a week off. And, quite frankly, you couldn't ask for a better place. Chicagoland, like I had said before, it's a shame that it's not back on the regular NASCAR schedule. But it can live forever here on iRacing.com. So, for everybody here at the Independence Racing Network in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, I'm Dave Regal saying good night, good luck, and we'll see you next week.